Welcome back to Vlogs of History After Hours. I'm your host, Darius Clausen, and if you've missed this week's episode of Vlogs of History, I do encourage you to check it out. I'll leave a link right here. We've talked about the Renaissance, and if you check it out, it's going to help you understand more and get some more background knowledge that's going to help you grasp what I'm about to tell you in this video, this After Hours episode. So in the Renaissance video on Vlogs of History, we've talked about the Renaissance and we've mentioned the Medici family. Now, the Medici family is a very powerful family that came from Italy, Florence, Italy, and they were the ones who arguably started this whole process of Renaissance. I personally think that without them and without their influence, well, the Renaissance would have happened much later and would have been not such a big and important event as it is today. So, how did the Medici family start and what did they do to actually propel this Renaissance forward? Well, it all started with Giovanni de' Medici, who was one of the first Medicis, and he created the Medici Bank. Now, this Medici Bank became very successful, and so successful that they had multiple branches all over Europe. Now, they became very rich because of this whole banking system, right? So when you get rich, well, you get influence, and they had a lot of influence over Florence. And with influence also comes power. Power tends to always follow when you have influence and money, as you may have noticed. So Giovanni's son, Cosimo de' Medici, he came later, and he actually became the head of Florence. He became the city-state head, the leader of Florence. So he had actually political power. So this was the first time that the Medici family actually had some political power. Before, they only had monetary power. They had influences and whatnot, but now they actually were able to make decisions. Now, the good thing with Cosimo de' Medici is that he was for the arts. He was for the arts, he was for the sciences, and he was for making Florence the best city Europe has ever seen. And that's exactly what he did. Since he had a lot of money from his family's business, well, he invested a lot of money in the arts. He started a thing, well, he didn't start a thing, but he was very heavily involved in a thing called patronage. Now, patronage is essentially paying artists money for them to make art for you. Because if you're an artist, well, being an artist takes a lot of time. I mean, to work on let's say you're sculpting something or you're painting a painting, it takes a lot of time. And you also need to live in society. You need to have money to support yourself in society. So this whole patronage thing, well, it was a win-win because the artists could focus on their art, could devote all of their time to their art and get paid by the Medici family. And the Medici family, well, they were getting art in return, which was a great thing because they were into art, they were for the arts, and they wanted to see art evolve. And that's exactly what happened. They spent a lot of money on the artists. Some of the famous ones, as I've talked about in the Vlogs of History episode, is Donatello, there's Michelangelo, the big one, Leonardo da Vinci, and Brunelleschi. And now Donatello and Brunelleschi were arguably the first two architects the world has ever known, because when they came in Rome in 1402, they were the first ones to actually start measuring things in Rome. They looked at all the ruins and they were fascinated with the ruins, and they're like, whoa, like, what happened here? You know, like, we have all of these ruins here, and nobody's ever bothered to ask questions about these ruins. Nobody's ever bothered to study them and see what happened with the ancient Romans. How was their civilization like? And that's what really started this whole concept of Renaissance, was looking back at these things that were lost to the Middle Ages, from the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks, all these philosophies like Aristotle and Plato. And so with this, well, the arts became really, it started this whole thing of the arts, and Florence became a city of big culture. I mean, Cosimo de' Medici, well, he built Florence. He brought a lot of architects to build things in Florence, churches and other buildings of importance, and there was so much art in Florence. People came from all over Europe to Florence because it was flourishing with art. That's where you had Leonardo da Vinci, that's where you had Michelangelo, that's where you had all these Renaissance men. Now, Renaissance man, I've mentioned in the Vlogs of History episode, but if you're not unfamiliar, a Renaissance man is a man who's talented in the sciences, the arts, and everything that a Renaissance man could be talented in. He was talented in that. Leonardo da Vinci was one, Michelangelo was one, there was many more. And because of this, well, Florence flourished, right? I mean, Florence became the cultural hub of Europe. Even Cosimo, he built libraries and he took all of the books he could find. He had his own personal collection of books that he had in Florence. And so really, Florence became the starting point for the Renaissance. That's where all the artists came from. He spent millions. He spent a lot of money on the arts, developed new techniques, helped develop new techniques, and even, fun little fact, the Medici family is responsible for funding the invention of the piano. So all of you piano players out there, well, you would not have a piano if it wasn't for the Medici family's money. So be sure to thank them for that. So I thought this was very interesting. I thought this was a very interesting story about the Medici family and how they were the ones who started the Renaissance. And like I said in the beginning, I don't think that without them, I don't think that we would have had a Renaissance as powerful and as important as we had in our history, right? Do you agree with me? Do you not? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I really want to know your opinion on this. Also, let me know if you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, leave a like, share it to a friend, and subscribe. Please subscribe to be notified when the next episodes come out. Remember, the Vlogs of History episodes come out every single Monday, and these episodes come out every single Wednesday without fail. With that being said, I'm your host, Darius Cousin. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will see you all next week.